most happening place, the most happening university, and the response is so lukewarm. Namaskara. Mugambo. Khush hua. So the date was 29 November, the time was 12 o'clock. Me and my family, my ma, my beautiful, gorgeous wife Madhavi, my daughter, even prettier, Ankita, and my son, Aniket, and I were sitting in the chamber of the gastroenterologist in Fortis Hospital when he had a look at a few slides and some reports, and he started, talking to me as if he's reading out from a weather report of Doordarshan in the 1970s or 80s. He said, Mr. Ramendra Kumar, you have got colon cancer, stage 2B. He talked about radiation and chemo and surgeries and stoma bag and all. I didn't know what the hell a stoma bag was. And then I stumbled out of his room and we went to the canteen. And there I simply cut loose. How come me? Poor me? Why me? I don't smoke. I've never touched alcohol. I'm slim and trim. I exercise regularly. I swim. Then how the hell has this damn scourge slammed into me? There were tears, there was anxiety, there was angst. And just then I had a look at the three people I loved the most in my life. Looking at me, their faces crumpled. It was as if they were seeing my death in my own eyes. At that moment, I decided that I couldn't do this to them. It was not their fault that I had been diagnosed by this deadly disease. So then when I saw my family in that kind of a state, what I thought was, I couldn't do this to them, right? And as a writer, inspirational speaker, and a storyteller, I had to shift the narrative. I had to create my own script, live it and love it. Now let me share a little bit about my background. I've had a very scarred, chaotic childhood. I'm a suicide survivor at the age of 15. At the age of 16, my parents divorced. I suffer from a clutch of very serious ailments, one of which is brittle diabetes, where the sugar levels, like my wife's mood, move from one extreme to the other. Early morning, it's 45, the sugar level, and the same day, after 17, 18 hours, it used to go up to 512. So I've fitted with an insulin pump to manage this disease. Then I also suffer from another ailment called silent thyroiditis, where again the thyroid levels move from one extreme to the other. In 2015, I was identified with a condition vaguely called hemangioma, where a polyp was growing just below my vocal cords, and I was almost losing my voice. My wife was dancing with joy because for the last 7 years, what she could not achieve, make me shut up. This disease was doing it. But seriously, it was a very critical surgery. I was rushed from Rourkela, where I was working, to Hyderabad Apollo, and the surgery was performed. It was successful. That's why I'm standing there and talking to you. In between, I also had COVID and tuberculosis. I fought all these with my exclusive mantra of managing every tumor with humor. So during my cancer journey, I suffered 3 septic shocks. The probability of surviving one septic shock is only around 30%. 3 times I knocked on the door of death, shook hands with Lord Yama, and walked back to the kingdom of the living. My wife played Savitri to my Satyavan. 4 major surgeries, 10 rounds of chemo, my hair is back, 5 rounds of radiation, and 40 days in the ICU. I managed all this because of the support of my incredible, awesome, amazing family, my ma. Usually, children who are in the late 20s or early 30s give their logistic support. The best doctors, the best treatment, the best hospital, they'll keep signing checks or transferring money on UPI or whatever. But they don't give their energy, effort, and time. My children, Ankita and Aniket, kept their career and their life on hold for 6-7 months when I was, moving in and out of the hospital. And they were with me and my beautiful, gorgeous wife throughout this chaotic journey. And for 3 of them, the entire period was rushing me to the doctors, taking me for scans, blood reports, making sense of the verdict on a day-to-day basis. And they didn't know when they visited me in the ICU in the morning whether they would see me alive in the evening, or when they visited me latish in the night, next morning, whether I would be alive or I would have been gone. So through all of this, they never ever pressed the panic button. They never ever made me realize the kind of chaos I was going through, the kind of hell I was walking on a daily basis. That's my family for you. Let me relate a particular incident. On 16th of April 2022, when I suffered my first septic shock, my family was called. I was in the ICU. I was lying on the bed there. My hands and feet had started turning blue. They were all swollen up. I was on the ventilator, completely knocked out. And my BP had fallen to 55. And despite the strongest medicines known to anybody here or anywhere else, my BP was not going up. The doctors had declared that this possibly is the last stage. You can call whoever you want and you can have a look at him. So I came to know of this later. My family entered, they saw me in this stage. And my daughter Ankita, God knows what got into her, she put her palm on my forehead and she started speaking. Papa, you can't go away like this. You can't do this to us. You've always been a fighter. You have fought the toughest of odds with your strength, with your resilience, with your guts. You have always told us it is the mind over the body, the mind over the matter. It is now the time for you to prove this. My son told her, have you lost it? He can't hear you. What are you doing? He said, I don't care. I have to talk. And she continued talking to me. She said, you've got so many friends, followers and fans. I have only 5 ceiling fans at home. And she said, we love you. All of us adore you. And I love you the most. You have to do it for me. You have to do it for us. This was like a movie scene from one of those 1970s, 80s blockbuster, when the hero, in my case the comedian, is lying on the bed and the family is all around praying for the miracle, which always happens in real life. But ladies and gentlemen, this was real life. But would you believe this? As Ankita started talking, the BP actually started climbing up. 55, 60, 65, 70. And the Doubting Thomases, my wife and my son also joined the cheerleading, cheering every milestone of the BP's ascent. And when the BP reached around 117 or 120, then the doctors came in and asked my family to move out and they took me for the surgery. Later when I came to know of this and I talked to the doctors, most of them were skeptical. I mean, they were not willing to admit that this kind of miracle can take place. You know, science is so important. Science is everything. Faith is behind the bracket, beyond anything. But the former director of NIMHANS told me that the doctors might not agree, but there was some energy, there was some connect between you and your daughter that brought you back from the jaws of death. So there is something called faith. The cliche goes that faith can move mountains. In this case, faith moved Ramendra Kumar out of the ICU. Yeah. So, and what about my friends? What I had done was, I was diagnosed on November 29th. December 1st, I had gone on Facebook and I was sharing my journey. There were funny, quirky messages, parodies of Amitabh Bachchan's dialogues, jokes, everything else I filled social media with. So 3 days after my radiation, normally after radiation, a person can barely walk. But my daughter knows that I'm crazy about dancing. I've been dancing to my wife's tune for now 36 years. So she decided to create a dance video. So she and I changed 7 dresses in a span of 1 minute and danced to Jawan Janiman Haseen Dilrupa. If you want, at the end, I can dance for you. So this video went viral and my onco surgeon shared it across platforms and people started, giving me, messaging me, calling me on WhatsApp. And the doctor said, this is the way we want people to respond. I got messages. There were duas in masjid from Lahore to Lucknow to Guwahati. People were worshipping and lighting diyas in temples across the country and abroad. I was prayers in mandir, prayers in churches, prayers in gurudwara, Buddhist incantations and mantras. I was besieged with this love, affection and adoration. One of a youngster on Instagram messaged me that his father was suffering from a disease of the arteries and he could not get up from the wheelchair. But when he saw my video with my daughter dancing to Jawan Janeman, he actually made an attempt to get up and walk. Now you tell me, how heartwarming is this? The director of Indian Institute of Mass Communication wrote a column on me in 2 newspapers. There was this very popular writer, Bangalore-based, Rupa Pai. She compared my fight with that of Rafael Nadal when he was injured very seriously in the abdomen, but continued playing Wimbledon and won the match. Then there was the other friend of mine who compared me with Rajesh Khanna's role in Anand. She called Ramendra Kumar Anand 2.0. And one of my daughter is a travel influencer, one of her friends, she's the only lady vegan to climb Mount Everest. And when she ascended the summit, she thanked the Lord, thanked her parents, and then prayed for my health on top of Mount Everest. Now tell me, with this kind of support, what can a damn scourge, do to me? I naturally had to be victorious. So now I would like to share a few coping mechanisms. First and foremost is, these coping mechanisms I have discussed in my book, which I'll ask her to release it. And she talked about it, coping with cancer. These are 11 coping mechanisms. These are not only for cancer, for any kind of catastrophe, any kind of crisis, whether it's a death of a beloved or an accident, a loss of a job. These can be used. They are generic principles. Based on my experience, based on secondary research, I've taken case studies of Yuvraj Singh, Manisha Koirala, Sonali Bendre, and ordinary people like me. So, first and foremost is pursue a passion. Because when you follow a passion, when you pursue a passion, these negative thoughts will not intrude into your space. My wife's passion is improving me. And that she's been doing for the last 36 years. And she says it's a work in process, but not a work in progress because there's no progress. I'm still as big an idiot as I was 36 years back. For me, my passion is writing, storytelling, giving inspirational talks, swimming, and of course, dancing. So after I got out of the hospital, my family got busy in their own life and career. I created a structure for myself. Every day for a few hours, I would sit and write something. Then later, as my energy levels improved, I went for online talks, offline talks. And here I would like to express my gratitude, my humble thanks to Indian Cancer Society. They actually adopted me, literally and figuratively. And they have been calling me for online and offline functions over the last couple of years. And that each function has been a rush of adrenaline, and it's kind of vitamin elixir. Every time when I come and interact, I think I have grown both mentally, though my wife will not agree, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so your passion is so very important. Then second thing is, you have created a concept called ATM. You know of Anytime Money Card, right? Automatic teller machine. This concept of mine is called Anytime Memory. So what I say is that let us create memories with your people who are near and dear to you. Because in this rodent race of life, we forget to invest in relationships. So how do we create memories? By investing in 2 4-letter words, love and time. You can do simple things like playing Ludo or Scrabble, dancing in the rain, playing with your pup, just chilling out with your children or your friends or your relatives. Create these memories, because this ATM card cannot be hacked, cannot be stolen, cannot be lost, cannot be torn. And irrespective of the vagaries of the stock market, the price of this, the value of this ATM card will keep zooming. And it has no value actually because it is priceless. And when you are down and out, encash this ATM card and be happy. Then live in the moment. A lot of sages have told you that don't be worried about the regrets of the past or the anxiety of the future. Live in the present moment. If you look at any child who's 3 or 4 years old, you give her a crayon and or a color pencil and a drawing sheet, and you ask her to draw the Taj Mahal. She'll keep drawing in circles and all. It might look like a watermelon, or it might look like a banana, but she's happy because she's not concerned about what other people are thinking. She is living in the present moment. In cancer, guys, the only certainty is the uncertainty. I'll give an example. On October 3rd this year, I had gone for my first annual PET scan after a year. So there the PET scan showed some kind of, what did they called it? Some kind of possibly metabolic activity. So I asked, what does it mean? They said it's possibly a recurrence, right? And then my family and I, we just went into a spiral. So this, they told me on 7th of October. From 7th of October till 8th, I was advised sigmoidoscopy, and because I knew what I had gone through, everything came back. And I said, suppose it's recurrence, what's going to happen? They said, surgery, chemo, and radiation. For those 24 hours, my family and I must have died 1,000,000 times. And there on the bed, I was made to lie for 3 hours because there had to be a jugalbandi between the onco-surgeon and the guy who was doing this, the GI guy who was doing the sigmoidoscopy. So for 3 hours, I was imagining all the worst kind of things and all. Luckily, it turned out to be not recurrence, but only an inflammation. But what I'm trying to tell you is, in cancer, I repeat, the only certainty is the uncertainty. It is like a stealth warrior, it can always creep back. But if I start thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, I will smudge, smother, and smash the beautiful, lovely moments which I have today. So I don't think about tomorrow. I live in the present moment. I don't wait for the light. Thank you. I don't wait for the light at the end of the tunnel. I rush forward, grab the light, and make it on my own. And I do it as much as possible. Then one has to normalize these things. Now, let me tell you that I am fitted with a stoma bag, right? So, right side, I have a stoma bag. Before coming here, I went to the washroom and emptied it. On left is my insulin pump, and in my heart is my beautiful, gorgeous wife. All three permanent attachments now. I can't do without them, right? So earlier, managing the stoma bag was a huge issue. It would leak, and we had to depend on an external nurse who would come and replace. And you know, Bangalore traffic being what it is, I would be literally lying in shit for a couple of hours. And I had this apprehension that can I actually go out? Then I did some research and got a ostomy bathing apron in which I tuck the stoma bag, and I can go out for my storytelling sessions, for lovely sessions like these, lovely events like these. I've even danced on stage with this apron. Then my son did due diligence and got me a ostomy swimwear. So I tuck my stoma bag in the swimwear, wear a normal costume over that, and I'm able to swim for 30 to 40 minutes. And the doctors say, I'm one of those really weird guys with a stoma bag who's actually able to swim for 30, 40 minutes. And they shared a reel which my daughter made across platforms. So what I'm trying to say is, let us normalize not only cancer, any dreaded scourge, any incident, you please accept it and normalize it. For cancer, I would like to quote a very famous writer who's also a cancer survivor, that cancer is a word. It is not a sentence. And please treat it like a word. Finally, I would like to talk about humor. If you really want to take anything seriously, please take humor seriously. Whether you have a boil on your bum or your bum is on the boil, relax, man, nothing really is permanent. Here I would like to give you two examples which some of you would already know. So this friend of mine, this doctor friend of mine rang me up and said, see Ramen, you have gone all over social media and shared your parodies, your jokes, whatever. But now it's time for you to become antarmukhi. You have to internalize everything. So I said, bro, for the last 6 months, I feel half of Bangalore is peering into my rectum. And my rectum has got more eyeballs than Natu Natu dance. how much more internalizing should I do? Second thing, the message I got, my wife got from an aged relative of mine, who's a very serious kind of person. He laughs only once a month, the day he gets his salary. He believes in gravity, I believe in levity. And I am of the opinion that had he been alive at the time of Isaac Newton, he would have discovered gravity without the help of the apple. He's so serious. So he rang up Madhavi, my beautiful, gorgeous wife, and said, "What is Ramin doing? He is making a mockery of a deaded disease like cancer. He is flirting with death. If he continues like this, he will die in bits and pieces." I told Madhavi, "Tell him, Ramin will not allow any colon cancer to put a full stop, a comma, or even a semicolon to his creativity and humor. Tell him 2022." I was just waiting for this. This is one of my punchlines. Why nobody's clapping? Then Mogambo. So I also told Madhvi to tell him that 2022 is the age of the comedian. Zelensky in Ukraine, Bhagwan Maan in Punjab, and hopefully Ramendra Kumar in Namma. Third and final thing, Ramin believes in two great philosophers. 1975, Gabbar Singh, who said, "Jo dar gaya, samjho mar gaya." And 2022, Pushpa, who declared, "Sala, main jhukega nahi." So I would like to end with a parody of a famous soliloquy of Amitabh in Silsila. I hope you remember that. मैं और मेरी तन्हाई अक्सर बातें करते हैं. So this is me addressing cancer. मैं और मेरा कैंसर अक्सर बातें करते हैं. मैं और मेरा कैंसर अक्सर बातें करते हैं. तुम न होते तो ऐसा होता, तुम न होते तो वैसा होता. न रेडिएशन का यूं तोड़ना, न कीमो का निचोड़ना, न सर्जरी की दहशत, न स्कैन्स की परेशानी. हर ओर एक काली स्याही, एक अजब सी हैरानी. मैं और मेरा कैंसर अक्सर ये बातें करते हैं. तुम न होते तो ऐसा होता, तुम न होते तो वैसा होता. पर कैंसर तुम न होते तो मैं हंसता नहीं इतना, हर पल को गले लगाकर मैं जीता नहीं इतना. पर कैंसर तुम न होते तो मैं हंसता नहीं इतना, हर पल को गले लगाकर मैं जीता नहीं इतना. रिश्तों की भी शायद सही पहचान नहीं होती, रिश्तों की भी शायद सही पहचान नहीं होती. मेरे दिल में सदा खिलती ये मुस्कान नहीं होती. यूँ हालतों से लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं होती, अपनों को हिम्मत देने की ये ताकत नहीं होती. यूँ हालातों से लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं होती, अपनों को हिम्मत देने की ये ताकत नहीं होती. कैंसर तुमने मुझको खुद से मिला दिया, कैंसर तुमने मुझको खुद से मिला दिया. विष में घोलकर ही सही जैसे अमृत पिला दिया. तुम ना होते तो अब इतना मस्त नहीं रहता, कल की फिक्र में आज को मसल देता. तुम ना होते तो इतना मस्त नहीं रहता, कल की फिक्र में आज को मसल देता. मैं यूं ही पड़ा रहता, ज़िंदगी भी पड़ी रहती. मैं यूं ही पड़ा रहता, ज़िंदगी भी पड़ी रहती. ज़िंदगी लंबी तो होती पर बड़ी नहीं रहती. ज़िंदगी लंबी तो होती पर बड़ी नहीं रहती. थैंक यू.
चिकनी चमेली देखी चिकना कमीना देखा चांदनी चिटर होके चीट किया तो सारे तारे बोले गिली गिली अक्खा. मेरी बात तेरी बात ज्यादा बात है बुरी बात, थाली में कटोरा लेकर आलू भात पूरी बात. मेरे भी जो किसी ने रिपीट किया तो साला मैंने तेरे मुंह पे मारा मुक्का. चढ़ा है खैर ना जानना, अब तो क्या बुरा क्या भला है फर्क पहचानना. जिद पकड़ के खड़ा है कम वक्त छोड़ना जानना. दिल माने ना बदतमीज दिल बदतमीज दिल माने ना ये जो हाल है सवाल है कमाल है जाने ना बदतमीज दिल माने ना ढिमका वाला ना देखा सिंह का सिंगाला खा के शेर का पूरा ना देखा पूरी दुनिया का गोल गोल चक्कर लेके मैंने दुनिया को मारा धक्का बॉलीवुड हॉलीवुड वेरी वेरी जॉलीवुड राय के पहाड़ पर 3 फुटा नीली फुट मेरे पीछे किसी ने रिपीट किया तो साला मैंने तेरे मुंह पे मारा मुक्का अय्याशी